we're here at the DVIGear stand, and I'm here with Jesse Gearhart. Jesse, tell me a bit more about DVI.
DVIGear is a professional company where we've been working with digital connectivity for 25 years now. We're celebrating our 25th anniversary. We've been sort of in our specialty has been digital connectivity, and now we are showcasing our matrix switcher replacement, which is the SDVoE implementation. We call it DisplayNet.
Now, I know DisplayNet as being probably one of the most sophisticated SDVoE products on the market. Tell me about this evolvement over the last, because you're very much involved in the product development and in the software development as well. Tell me a bit more about that, and then show us some hardware as well.
Sure. So the involvement of most SDVoE things are continuously going on because of the software part of it, which we will discuss. But as the hardware goes, we've been switching to this ASIC version, which is a much less resource-hungry version, so it operates in a lot less wattage. And we've added some new features to it as well. So with that, we have currently one model. It's an Icron-based USB 2.0. And we have another one coming out in this next quarter, which will be the HID version, which is actually more innovative in that we can do far more with it in terms of control and what it can do. So, for example, this HID version can do seamless switching with multi-views between the mouse and keyboard. By seamless means as you drag into one, it automatically switches into that one seamlessly without any latency at all. We can also do something called collaborative mode, where we can have multiple endpoints controlling a single computer. And there's a lot more that can be done innovation-wise. Many things we haven't even considered yet. So that's a constant evolution. The software allows us to do that. We release new versions. We don't have to release new hardware to support new features, and that's, for us, that's a big win.
Well, I know that's a massive improvement, because that was one of the drawbacks of moving on to the ASICs. But now, obviously, you've developed that, and so that you've got this kind of completely latency-free ability to be able to do the seamless switching.
Yes. Not just we've always had seamless switching between video and other layers, but yeah, with this new HID lever, we are able to do that. And with the multi-view capability that we've natively had for a long time, it allows us to even add more features. So, for example, if you want to add, and the SDVoE people are here showing this as well, but we'll do this. If you want to add an overlay to your multi-view or to your system, you can do that and design it any way you want. You're not limited to some basic on OSD display that just has some text with a font that you don't control. I can overlay a full image because it's just another input from the multi-view. So I can there's endless possibilities on what I can do with that OSD display. Even in terms of maybe adding control to it. So maybe I could drag into that and control that multi-view, or that's with a click of a button, or possibly a touch screen as well. So these are all things that are on the table, and as we develop these new features in software, you'll see those get supported by those type of pieces of hardware as well.
And it must be noted, I think you've deployed, one of the only SDVoE products to be deployed in the largest movie industry and broadcast areas as well. And I know that for a fact. Congratulations on that. And what other developments and what other case studies have you got to tell us?
Well, can't talk about too many of them, but yes, again, our biggest deployment is a very, very large deployment, and they have some very innovative techniques they're using with multi-view, USB control, but there's opportunities in medical industries, especially with this collaborative mode that we're talking about. There's all your traditional integrations, stage, pretty much anything you can imagine for deployment of professional AV, the system supports. And because it's completely customizable via software, we can customize a solution for those things that are not tied to a specific hardware configuration as in previous.
So I want to go through a bit more about the software side. If we can dive in, especially on the API, because that's one of the key features of the DisplayNet solution, is being able to take the SDVoE API and convert it and just spit it out, and makes obviously programming so much easier. So can we go through some of the things that you can do now?
Absolutely. So we figure one of our key features of our software is how easy it is to implement and integrate into your solution. So we support the standard SDVoE API, which is I would call the base level API. Anything you can do with that, you're still capable of doing that with ours. We have also enhanced that with easier to use API calls that maybe concatenate a lot of those base level commands that are not as simple to use, that take a little bit extra time. So we call it an extension of the SDVoE API. And for that purpose, in our software, we allow you to do things and then watch what API commands are being sent. So everything that we do in the API or in our UI is just an API call at some point, and you get to watch those as they happen in real time and maybe even create your own scripts and support. So I can certainly show you an example of that. So here I'll go in and create I'll go into our preset library here, and I'll create a new script. And we'll just name this one test really quick. And I've got a script that's got nothing in it, but I can hit the record button over here, and now I can go over to my routing tab, and let me go ahead and just route something that won't change video. I'll go here and I'll route this one, this audio layer. I'll go and do another audio layer over here for this one, and anything I do as I'm doing these things, I can go back to the console and I can see the commands that are being sent. I can then go ahead and hit stop on this recording. I can edit this however I want. Maybe I don't really want this command. So when I go back into the test here, these are the two commands that got sent. I can go ahead and copy those. I can add them to my custom integration and other custom software, because now I saw what they happen. Or I can just go ahead and create this as a script. I save that. Now when I rerun that script, I have those same operations happen automatically. I didn't have to write a piece of code. I can see the code that gets generated right here, but as an integrator, I don't have to know that. As someone who's interested in learning that, now I've seen that, I have an example of it, I kind of understand how it works. So it sort of teaches you on the fly, and then of course that's enhanced by the fact we do have our API manual now documented and available within the application, so you can go through here and pick any of your API commands or areas, and you want to learn how that API works, it's all documented in here as well. So, you have the example approach, which is, as a developer myself, I love, and then I also have a documentation, where if I just can't figure it out or I don't quite understand it, I have that available as well.
Can you show us some of the hardware as well?
Sure. So down here we can see our units here. So we're showing our DN-300. These are the ASIC based units. So they have, again, these are switchable units, so you can switch them between transmitter receiver on the fly. And then they have all the standard layers. So you have your HDMI layer, you have your audio layer, HDMI audio, and an analog audio layer. And you have USB control. So the 300 is the USB 2.0 control. You also have an infrared layer. You have the RS-232 layer, and you also have CEC for control, for control as well. We are also this show showing our next revision of it, which is going to have the HID USB that we talked about that enhances all that level of control. It's the same essential hardware, but with just the different unit for the USB control, which will release. We're looking at Q2 of this year, and at a slightly less price point, actually. So, yeah.
And where can people find out more information?
You can go to DVIGear.com, and that should be pretty easy for you.
Thanks a lot, Jesse.
Thank you very much.